Hello there.
Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of the best Star Wars characters, and over the years there have been nearly 40 iterations of him as a LEGO minifigure, some of which are rather pricey. So in this video we're counting down the top 10 most expensive Obi-Wan Kenobi minifigures. Each minifigure's value will be based off sold listings in new condition. That way they'll all be on the same playing field. None of that high ground business. And of course, please be aware that the value of these minifigures is subject to change over time. But with all that out of the way, let's kick off the list with the 10th most expensive Obi-Wan Kenobi minifigure. Coming in at the number 10 spot is actually a variant of Ben Kenobi, or old Obi-Wan Kenobi from episode 4. This minifigure looks pretty solid. He's got the reddish brown hood and cape, and the torso print looks pretty clean. However, the lack of leg printing and pupils in the eyes definitely makes this minifigure look a little bit outdated, but to be fair, it was released all the way back in 2008 as an exclusive to set number 10188, the UCS Death Star, which originally retailed for $3.99. This version of Obi-Wan Kenobi is currently worth about $14.16. I think the reason why this minifigure isn't worth more is because none of his parts are exclusive to him, and they've all been seen on other minifigures. Keeping it moving, at the number 9 spot is another variant of Obi-Wan Kenobi from episode 4. In fact, it's actually the exact same minifigure we just looked at. However, this version does not have the cape, and instead of a hood, he has a hairpiece. This minifigure was exclusive to set 10179, the UCS Millennium Falcon, which was released in 2007 for a retail price of $4.99. While this set is incredibly valuable nowadays, this Obi-Wan minifigure, not so much. He's only worth about $15.01. Just like number 10, none of his parts are exclusive, but if they were, I'm sure this minifigure would be worth way more and we'd see it a lot higher on this list. At the number 8 spot, we're switching things up with a variant of Obi-Wan Kenobi as a Padawan from episode 1. Obviously, this minifigure is wildly outdated compared to today, seeing as it has the yellow face and hands. But aside from that, I actually think this minifigure looks pretty good. It's got a really clean looking torso print, and it even shows his Padawan braid coming down his shoulder. This minifigure was released in 2002 as an exclusive to set number 7203 Jedi Defense 1. And back when this set was first released, it only cost $7. But as for the Obi-Wan Kenobi minifigure alone, nowadays, he's worth $17. Now, as far as a LEGO minifigure goes, that's fairly expensive, but that's not crazy expensive when you consider it was released all the way back in 2002. I think the main reason why this minifigure hasn't sold for more is because it looks really outdated, and because of that, it's only really desirable to those who collect vintage LEGO Star Wars. At the number 7 spot is a variant of Obi-Wan Kenobi from episode 2, Attack of the Clones. And I gotta say, this minifigure looks fantastic. As you can see, he has the double-sided face so you can swap his facial expressions, and the torso and leg print looks really clean and complete. This minifigure was exclusive to a set released in 2013, being 75021 Republic Gunship. This set retailed for $120 when it first came out, but nowadays it is incredibly sought after, which has definitely helped the value of this Obi-Wan minifigure to rise. Speaking of which, this minifigure's value is $17, which technically makes it a tie between this Obi-Wan and the one we just looked at for number 8. So as a tiebreaker, I left it up to the value of each of these minifigures in their used condition. The previous Obi-Wan was worth $5.82 used. However, this one is worth $11.63 used, giving it the slight edge. In the number 6 spot is another version of Obi-Wan as a Padawan from episode 1. Honestly, this minifigure is pretty bland looking, especially the face, and the torso print is nothing to write home about. Now yes, this minifigure was released all the way back in 2007, but the fact that he doesn't even have his Padawan braid coming over his shoulder is inexcusable to me, especially the fact that it was on his torso all the way back in 2002. This minifigure came exclusively in set 7665 Republic Cruiser, which retailed for $89.99. And the value for this minifigure nowadays is $17.61, just barely surpassing the number 7 spot by a slim difference of 61 cents. We have now made it halfway through the list at the number 5 spot. At this spot is actually one of the very first Revenge of the Sith variants of Obi-Wan. And I gotta say, although rather simplistic, this minifigure actually looks really good. It was released in 2005 and kind of captures that transition from vintage LEGO Star Wars to more modern looking LEGO Star Wars, if that makes sense. The printed beard and hairpiece work really well together, the dark orange legs make for a nice accent color, and the brown cape ties it all together. This minifigure was exclusive to set 7255, General Grievous Chase. It was part of the first wave of episode 3 sets and retailed for $20. As for this Obi-Wan minifigure's value, it's worth $19.30, just under that $20 mark. And moving right along to the number 4 spot, it actually takes us all the way back to where we started, because at this spot is another variant of old Obi-Wan Kenobi from episode 4. This variant of Obi-Wan looks very similar to other Obi-Wans we've seen on this list. This time he's rocking the brown cape and the gray hairpiece. Now, here's where things get interesting with this minifigure. Basically, this minifigure was released in a LEGO Star Wars watch back in 2013. It came with a Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi minifigure. However, at some point throughout the set's shelf life, LEGO actually updated the set with a new set number. The updated version came with a different bezel for the watch, and the Obi-Wan Kenobi minifigure was given an updated face print. So looking at them side by side, you can see they have the exact same cape, torso, legs, and hair. It's just the face printing that's different. The updated face printing has wrinkles around the eyes, and most importantly, it has pupils. But perhaps the biggest difference between these two minifigures is their value. The Obi-Wan with pupils is worth $13.70, which isn't even enough to make the list. However, the Obi-Wan minifigure without pupils is worth $21.07. All things considered, that's a pretty significant price increase considering the only difference is the face print. Making its way to the podium at the number 3 spot is actually the very first Obi-Wan Kenobi minifigure LEGO ever made, all the way back in 1999. Obviously, this is a very outdated looking Obi-Wan, but considering it was LEGO's first go at the character, I don't think it looks half bad. And it gives off that classic, vintage LEGO Star Wars look, which some people really appreciate. This minifigure was exclusive to set 7161, Gungan Sub. It retailed for $50 and was one of the first sets LEGO ever released under the Star Wars license. As for the minifigure itself, it's currently worth $29.67. It looks like we're finally starting to see a significant bump in price with these Obi-Wan minifigures. But we only have 2 more spots left, so let's see how high these prices really get. In the runner-up spot is actually another variant of old Obi-Wan Kenobi from episode 4. Now this is getting a little strange because this is the 4th time we've seen this minifigure on the list. However, the thing that stands out most about this minifigure is the short cape. Now this Obi-Wan minifigure was also released in a LEGO Star Wars watch. The watch initially came out in 2009, however at some point during its shelf life, LEGO gave it a new set number, and this time they gave it new packaging and gave Obi-Wan a different cape. It looks like the first version of the watch came with a tattered, ripped up cape for Obi-Wan, which is really weird because his cloak was never ripped up in episode 4, but then again, updating him with a shorter cape isn't much more accurate either, so I'm not too sure what's going on here. But regardless of any of that, this version of Obi-Wan with the shorter cape is worth $38.14. Although that's pretty expensive, I suppose it makes sense seeing as the cape is actually pretty valuable. It only came on 2 minifigures, being this Obi-Wan Kenobi and the 2005 Jawa. In fact, the cape itself is worth about $13. So given the rarity of the cape, the price makes a little bit more sense, but it's nothing compared to number 1. And finally, we have arrived at the number 1 spot. The most expensive Obi-Wan Kenobi minifigure by far is the Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan Kenobi with the light up lightsaber. This has got to be the coolest and most unique minifigure on this list. When you push down on the head of this minifigure, his lightsaber will actually light up. This minifigure was released in set 7257 Ultimate Lightsaber Duel with a retail price of $30. And let's just say that if you bought that set back then, you are sitting on some pretty serious cash right now, because this Obi-Wan Kenobi minifigure is worth $98.82. Not only is this one of the most expensive Obi-Wan Kenobis, but it's also one of the coolest, which makes it totally worthy of being at the top spot on this list. If you own any of the minifigures on this list, let us know which one in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this.